Alright guys, and welcome back to the Little Organ Gaming channel. Today we have the second season of our 10 seasons simulated on F1 2022 My Team Career Mode. Charles Leclerc and Ferrari dominated the first season. Will they continue in that vein this season? Well, we're about to find out, but first of all, there's a few driver movements, and it all kick-started at Alpine. So yep, Fernando Alonso left Alpine, retiring, and Pierre Gasly took his seat, making the jump from AlphaTauri to Alpine, and he was replaced at AlphaTauri by Valtteri Bottas, joining the sister team of what could be considered his main rival team for a couple of seasons at Mercedes. His seat was then filled by Alexander Albon at Alfa Romeo, and Kevin Magnussen moved from Haas to Williams. That allowed Guan Yu Zhou then to make the move to Haas from Alfa Romeo, and Alfa Romeo then recruited F2 driver Robert Schwartzman for their empty seat. And after all those driver changes, it was time for the Bahrain Grand Prix, where Charles Leclerc picked up where he left off, winning ahead of Lewis Hamilton in second, Russell third, Sainz fourth, Perez fifth, Gasly sixth, Ocon 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Albon picking up some points in the Alfa Romeo in 9th, and Mick Schumacher finished in 10th. And next up was Saudi Arabia, where Mercedes have started this season well with victory for Lewis Hamilton. George Russell made it a 1-2 for Mercedes. Carlos Sainz was 3rd, Verstappen 4th, Norris 5th, Ricciardo 6th, Perez 7th, Ocon 8th, Gasly 9th, and Sebastian Vettel finished in 10th. Next up was Australia, as Charles Leclerc bounced back with victory ahead of George Russell in second. Carlos Sainz was 3rd, Verstappen 4th, Norris 5th, Gasly 6th, Hamilton in a disappointing 7th place from pole. Perez was 8th, Vettel 9th, and Ricciardo got that final point. And now we enter our first sprint race of the season. Charles Leclerc wins it ahead of Carlos Sainz. Lando Norris in an impressive 3rd position, Lewis Hamilton 4th, Ricciardo 5th, Verstappen 6th, Russell 7th, and Gasly rounds off the point scorers. And in the Grand Prix, Charles Leclerc managed to convert his pole position into victory ahead of Lando Norris, who managed to finish 2nd ahead of Max Verstappen, who rounded off the podium. Sainz was 4th, Russell 5th, Hamilton 6th, Ricciardo 7th, Perez 8th, Schumacher 9th, and Gasly finished in 10th. He's starting to be on fire again, as Charles Leclerc wins a 4th race of the season in Miami. Max Verstappen was 2nd, Hamilton rounds off the podium in 3rd, Russell 4th, Sainz 5th, Norris 6th, Perez 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Ocon 9th, and Gasly finished in 10th. And after 5 races, Charles Leclerc has a 33-point lead at top of the Drivers' Championship ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Russell's 3rd, Sainz 4th, Verstappen 5th, Norris 6th, Perez 7th, Ricciardo 8th, and then the Alpine pairing of Gasly and Ocon are in 9th and 10th. And in the Constructors, Ferrari holds a 29-point lead over Mercedes. Red Bull are 3rd, McLaren 4th, Alpine 5th, Aston Martin are up in 6th. Haas 7th, Alfa Romeo 8th, and Williams and AlphaTauri are the 2 teams who haven't scored a single point. And as we head to Spain, it's once again Leclerc on the top step, Verstappen finding some form, and he's in 2nd, Hamilton was 3rd, Russell 4th, Sainz 5th, Norris 6th, Perez 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Gasly 9th, and Robert Schwartzman in the Alfa Romeo got his first points in Formula 1. 7 races, 6 wins. Leclerc is just dominant as he wins again. Verstappen 2nd, Russell 3rd, Sainz 4th, Hamilton 5th, Perez 6th, Norris 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Magnussen getting Williams' first points of the season in 9th, and Gasly finished in 10th. Is anybody going to stop Leclerc this season? And the answer to that question is seemingly no, as Leclerc wins yet again in this time Azerbaijan. Norris with a very impressive 2nd place, Verstappen 3rd, Russell 4th, Sainz 5th, Hamilton 6th, Ricciardo 7th, Bottas 8th, Magnussen 9th, and Checo Perez got that final point in 10th. But in Canada, his streak ends as Max Verstappen wins ahead of Charles Leclerc. Sainz gets on the podium, so it's a good points haul for Ferrari. Hamilton was 4th, Russell 5th, Norris 6th, Perez 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Gasly 9th, and Vettel getting an all-important point for Aston Martin. He's been threatening it all season, and Lando Norris gets a race victory in his home Grand Prix of Britain. LeClerc 2nd, Russell 3rd, Verstappen 4th, Perez 5th, Sainz 6th, Hamilton 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Vettel 9th, and Gasly finished in 10th. And that shock result in Britain takes us into a sprint race in Austria where Max Verstappen puts himself on pole and picks up 8 points out of Charles LeClerc in 2nd, Norris 3rd, Russell 4th, Hamilton 5th, Perez 6th, Sainz 7th, and Ricciardo rounds off the points in 8th. But in the Grand Prix, Leclerc wins ahead of Max Verstappen. Norris gets himself on the podium, Hamilton 4th, Perez 5th, Sainz 6th, Ricciardo 7th, Magnussen 8th, Gasly 9th, and Bottas picked up a point for AlphaTauri. Max Verstappen is having somewhat of a renaissance in form as he wins in France. Lando Norris 2nd, Leclerc 3rd, Hamilton 4th, Perez 5th, Sainz 6th, Russell 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Bottas 9th, and Gasly finished in 10th. And as we head into the mid-season break, Leclerc wins the Hungarian Grand Prix ahead of Russell in 2nd, Norris 3rd, Hamilton 4th, Perez 5th, Sainz 6th, Ricciardo 7th, Bottas 8th, Vettel 9th, and Tsunoda getting his first point of the season in 10th. And in the Drivers' Championship, Charles Leclerc leads the way, 97 points ahead of Max Verstappen. Lando Norris is 3rd, George Russell 4th, Hamilton 5th, Sainz 6th, Perez 7th, Ricciardo 8th, and the two Alpines, Gasly and Ocon, are in 9th and 10th respectively. And in the Constructors, Ferrari had a 110 point lead over Mercedes, Red Bull 3rd, McLaren 4th, Alpine 5th, AlphaTauri 6th, Aston Martin 7th, Williams 8th, Alfa Romeo and Haas are both on 3 points in 9th and 10th. And after the mid-season break, Charles Leclerc opens his lead with victory in Belgium, Sainz 2nd, Verstappen 3rd, Hamilton 4th, Gasly 5th, Ricciardo 6th, Perez 7th, Russell 8th, Ocon 9th, and Alexander Albon finished in 10th. He really loves denying Max Verstappen victory in his home Grand Prix as Leclerc wins in the Netherlands, Verstappen 2nd, Norris 3rd, Perez 4th, Sainz 5th, Russell 6th, Gasly 7th, Hamilton 8th, Ocon 9th, and Vettel got the final point in 10th. He's only gone and done it again. Lando Norris has won a second Grand Prix this season, this time in Italy. A happy hunting ground for McLaren. Leclerc was 2nd, Verstappen 3rd, Ricciardo 4th, Russell 5th, Perez 6th, Gasly 7th, Hamilton 8th, Bottas 9th, and Magnussen finished 10th. Next up we head to Asia and Singapore where Max Verstappen wins ahead of Lando Norris in 2nd, Ricciardo 3rd, Russell 4th, Sainz 5th, Perez 6th, Hamilton 7th, Gasly 8th, Ocon 9th, and Magnussen in 10th. What a weekend for McLaren. And next up was Japan, where Charles Leclerc back to winning ways ahead of Lando Norris in 2nd. Verstappen rounded off the podium, Ricciardo up in 4th, Hamilton 5th, Gasly 6th, Russell 7th, Perez 8th, Sainz all the way down in 9th, disappointing from him, and Ocon finished in 10th. And he's managed to win a third race this season as Lando Norris puts his McLaren in first in the United States. Leclerc 2nd, Sainz 3rd, Verstappen 4th, Russell 5th, Hamilton 6th, Ricciardo 7th, Perez 8th, Ocon 9th, and Gasly got that final point in 10th. And with 3 races remaining, Charles Leclerc is indeed the Drivers' Champion. He's got a 109 point lead ahead of Max Verstappen. Lando Norris is in 3rd and comfortably so. Russell 4th, Hamilton 5th, Sainz 6th, Perez 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Gasly 9th, and Ocon is in 10th for Alpine. And in the Constructors, Ferrari have indeed won it again. 180 points ahead of Red Bull now in 2nd place. Mercedes are 3rd. McLaren 4th, Alpine 5th, AlphaTauri 6th, Williams 7th, Aston Martin 8th, and Alfa Romeo are 9th ahead of Haas in 10th. And next up was the short trip to Mexico, where Max Verstappen got victory ahead of Lando Norris in second. Leclerc rounded off the podium in third, Sainz fourth, Gasly fifth, Russell sixth, Ricciardo seventh, Hamilton eighth, Ocon ninth, and Albon finished in 10th. And on the penultimate weekend, it is a sprint weekend where Charles Leclerc wins the sprint ahead of Max Verstappen, Norris third, Russell fourth, Hamilton fifth, Ricciardo sixth, Bottas 7th, and Gasly rounded off the points in 8th. And in the Grand Prix, Leclerc won ahead of Lando Norris in 2nd, Russell getting on the podium for Mercedes in 3rd, Verstappen 4th, Sainz 5th, Hamilton 6th, Ricciardo 7th, Bottas 8th, Ocon 9th, and Tsunoda got a point for AlphaTauri in 10th. And finally, it is Abu Dhabi, the final race, where Charles Leclerc wins ahead of Max Verstappen. Norris rounds off the podium in 3rd, Russell 4th, Ricciardo 5th, Hamilton 6th, Sainz 7th, Bottas 8th, Ocon 9th, and Sergio Perez finished all the way down in 10th. And that means Season 2, Charles Leclerc wins the Drivers' Championship ahead of Max Verstappen. Lando Norris in a very good 3rd place in his McLaren. Russell 4th, Sainz 5th, Hamilton 6th, Ricciardo 7th, Perez all the way down in 8th. Very disappointing for the Red Bull driver. And Gasly and Ocon very respectable for Alpine in 9th and 10th. And the Constructors does indeed go the way of Ferrari again. Red Bull in 2nd, Mercedes 3rd, just 5 points off Red Bull. McLaren were 4th and they weren't far off either. Alpine 5th, AlphaTauri 6th, Williams 7th, Aston Martin 8th, Alfa Romeo 9th, and Haas with just 3 points finished in 10th. So there we have it. It's 2 Drivers' Championships out of 2 for Charles Leclerc, 2 Constructors' Championships out of 2 for Ferrari. Who's going to be able to stop them? Will they stop them in Season 3? Well, you're just going to have to wait to find out. And to find out, hit that subscribe button so it goes into your notifications. But until then, I'll catch you guys later.